Welcome to the Walt Disney World Resort, including Epcot Center, the Magic Kingdom, and now the Disney-MGM Studios.
That's Hooey Valley, Hooey Hollywood, where any office boy...
Hello and welcome back to Disney Marvels for week of May 5th, 2019. This is episode 44, Disney Marvels, the show about Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilms, the Muppets, Pixar, Fox, the parks, the cruise lines, and much, much more. If it has to do with Disney, it's fair game. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. And Disney Marvels is brought to you by Destinations with Character. Whether you're planning your next Disney park vacation, cruise vacation, or you don't know where to start, be sure to contact Destinations with Character Travel, the official travel partner of the Disney Marvels podcast. Email them at info@destinationswithcharacter.com or visit their website, www.destinationswithcharacter.com. Be sure to tell them that the Disney Marvels podcast sent you. And don't forget you can also follow them on social media, on Facebook and on Twitter. Look them up there. They got excellent news. Speaking of news, now for the news. I'd like to put in a little note about something I forgot to put in the news last week, that the Disney Marvels podcast is celebrating its 1-year anniversary. Yes, we have been bringing you the Disney Marvel podcast for 1 year. Thank you for everyone who's been there from the beginning, and welcome to everyone who's joined us along the way. You're all welcome to be here. I'm glad that you're listening, and let's look forward to more wonderful things to come. On more Disney-related news, last year, Disney and 21st Century Fox entered into the consent decree with the U.S. Department of Justice that allows Disney's acquisition of the 21st Century Fox to proceed, while requiring the subsequent sale of the RNS, which is the Regional Sports Networks. Sinclair's purchase does not include the 21st Century Fox equity and interest in the Yes Network, but they are purchasing the remainder of the Regional Sports Network. But the disposition of, or the sale of the Yes Network is also part of the decree. Disney completed its $71 billion acquisition, completed its $71 billion acquisition of 21st Century Fox in March. The regional sports networks are to be acquired by Sinclair are Fox Sports Arizona, Fox Sports Detroit, Fox Sports Florida, Fox Sports Sun, Fox Sports North, Fox Sports Wisconsin, Fox Sports Ohio, Sports Time Ohio, Fox Sports South, Fox Sports Carolina, Fox Sports Tennessee, Fox Sports Southeast, Fox Sports Southwest, Fox Sports Oklahoma, Fox Sports New Orleans, Fox Sports Midwest, Fox Sports Kansas City, Fox Sports Indiana, Fox Sports San Diego, Fox Sports West, and Prime Ticket. Also included in the acquisition is Fox College Sports. So all of that will now be under the Sinclair conglomerate of sports TV. In case if people were wondering, ESPN is not involved or is he part of that agreement. Disney still contains the majority stake in that. The Walt Disney Studios has released its summer slate of movies, which include Disney's Aladdin on May 24th, Fox's Dark Phoenix on June 7th. I guess technically this will be Disney's first X-Men movie. Pixar's Toy Story 4 on June 21st, Fox's Stuber on July 12th, and Disney's The Lion King on July 19th. Fox 2000's The Art of Racing in the Rain moves up to August 9th. The Fox Searchlight's Ready or Not will be released on August 23rd, while 3 films move to later dates. Ad Astra will be September 20th, 2019. The New Mutants be April 3rd, 2020. And Artemis Fowl was moved back also to May 29, 2020. The studio's 2019 slate rounds out with Fox's The Woman in the Window on October 4th, Ford vs. Ferrari on November 15th, Disney's Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, which will be released October 18th, and Disney Animation's Frozen 2 will glide its way on November 22nd of this year. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker will debut on December 20th. Blue Sky Studios' Spies in Disguise will be moving from September to Christmas among early 2020 titles that have been released. Fox's Underwater on January 10th. The new Kingsman movie, which is yet to be titled, will be released February 14th. And Call of the Wild will be coming out February 21st. Which will be followed by Pixar's Onward on March 6th. Disney's Mulan will debut on March 27th. The updated calendar also sets release dates for major franchises such as Avatar and Star Wars. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker will bring the original Star Wars saga to a conclusion. 3 new, yet untitled, Star Wars films will be released on the pre-Christmas weekends every other year beginning in 2022. The forthcoming Avatar films, expanding the vibrant world of Pandora, will be released also on the pre-Christmas weekends on the every other year opposite of Star Wars beginning in 2021. In the holiday corridor for 2020, Fox's West Side Story adaptation directed by Steven Spielberg will debut. And that will be December 18th in the pre-Christmas slot, with Disney's Cruella opening Wednesday, December 23rd for the long holiday weekend. Avengers Endgame historic run continues this past weekend. The blockbuster film from Marvel Studios crossed the 2 billion, yes, that is correct, I said 2 billion with a B, mark on the global box office on Sunday, just 11 days after release. The fastest of any film in history to reach this threshold. Avengers Endgame is now one of just 5 films ever to earn more than $2 billion globally, joining its predecessor, Avengers Infinity War, as the second Marvel Studio film on the list, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. It becomes the third release from the Walt Disney Studios to achieve this milestone, and currently it is sitting just in the number 2 spot. It is the second highest grossing film of all time, only roughly about just under 600 million below Avatar as the top grossing film of all time. We shall see if it will get there, but so far it's trudging forward. Speaking of Avengers Endgame, U.S. troops stationed overseas in Afghanistan who had been resigned to avoid spoilers until the end of their deployment were surprised with a special screening of Marvel Studios' Avengers Endgame. This weekend, the Walt Disney Company brought the record-shattering film to Bagram Airfield on Wednesday, May 1st, and Thursday, May 2nd. The showing planned for Gahard was this past weekend. In Glendale, California, Adventures by Disney will transport guests to the storied lands of pharaohs and pyramids in 2020. With the launch of Unforgettable Family Vacation Itinerary in Egypt, a 3-part tour featuring adventures by land, river, and sea. Disney's roster of guided adventures in 2020 also include more adult-exclusive departures than ever before, with many itineraries offering new activities and experiences tailored to adults. The reimagined trip to Montana and Yellowstone National Parks highlight the return of more than 35 popular itineraries around the globe. Hulu is escalating its Marvel content output after Netflix cancels its own Marvel TV shows. The streamer announced on Tuesday 2 new Marvel TV shows, on top of its several other already in development. Ghost Rider and Hellstrom, both set to debut in 2020. And in case you're wondering, it's the Reyes version of Ghost Rider. There has been a change to the Epcot Flower and Garden Gardens Rock concert schedule. Peebo Bryson, who was scheduled for May 12th through the 13th, has been replaced with the Loving Spoonfuls, singers of Summer in the City. From the Disney blog, soon Disney Resort hotel guests and new and renewing annual pass holders will have the option to upgrade at a discounted price from their complimentary solid color Magic Bands to one of more 30 new Magic Bands upgrade options featuring your favorite Disney characters and designs. The new Magic Bands upgrade option will be available pre-arrival purchase at special price that reflects a $14.99 discount off the regular retail costs through the My Disney Experience website. Bradley McDonald of the OC Registry reports Disneyland will allow overnight lineups before the May 31st grand opening and the June 24th post-reservation date of Star Wars Galaxy Edge. The overnight lineup will be handled similarly to queues that were formed for Disneyland's 50th and 60th anniversary celebrations. So, soon you'll be able to line up for a galaxy far, far away in California. Current rumors out there. Workers at Bongo's Cuban Cafe have been told that the restaurant will be closing later this year, although an official public announcement has not yet been made. Marvel Studios reportedly developing a Nova movie for Phase 4. Sources close to the Marvel Cinematic Universe Cosmic are reporting that the Marvel Studios is already making serious headway at a standalone Nova movie. We'll be back after this break. And now, on with the show.
July 17th, 1955, the opening of Disneyland. October 1st, 1971, the opening of Walt Disney World. October 1st, 1982, the opening of Epcot Center. April 15th, 1983, Tokyo Disneyland. And tonight, April 30th, 1989, the Disney-MGM Studios theme park.
30 years ago, on May 1st, 1989, the Disney-MGM Studios opened. The park that came to life from the idea of a new pavilion for Epcot. The Imagineers were working on a pavilion about movies, a trip through cinematic history, movies, TV studios, stage shows, radio shows. The idea came about shortly after Michael Eisner, Frank Wells, and Jeffrey Katzenberg joined the company back in 1984. Well, 2 months into the project of trying to come up with this new pavilion, the idea grown from the pavilion to a full-size standalone park. And, like I said, May 1st, 1989, the Disney-MGM Disney-MGM Studios came to life. It really didn't have many attractions when it opened, and they kind of scrambled to get things to attract people into the park going. You had tons of stage shows, and you had the Great Movie Ride. You had the Backlot Tour. That was it really for full-on attractions. The Indiana Jones Stunt Show wasn't open yet. That was still in pre-production. The Beauty and the Beast stage show. Tower of Terror wasn't open. That whole Sunset Boulevard strip wasn't even part of the original park. Muppets wasn't even there. Lights Motor Action, which is now gone, wasn't open yet either. So there wasn't, strangely enough, there wasn't much to do in the park when it first opened, but people still came to it. And like I said, they had to build a bunch of shows for people to go see. And It slowly built up, and a lot of people, depending on who you ask, it's which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which company was building their park first? That uh, dark one down the road, which shall not be the park that shall not be named, or the studios? And Eisner will defend to his day that his idea was first, and the park that shall not be named will defend that their park came first. But either way, the studios opened for the Disney-MGM Studios opened first as a working production studio, and that was the main gimmick. That it was supposed to be a production studio first, and the theme park guests, would be kind of a secondary thing, and they get to see what was going on. A lot of ways very similar to what Universal did at their park or their studio lot tours back in California, in which Walt would spend a lot of his time going about and seeing how their studio ran wherever he was trying to get his stuff going. So this is where it started, and it did work like that for a bit. I mean, the Disney had plans of building bigger sound stages and hotel exclusively for the celebrities that would be coming down, because Florida would be cheaper to produce in than other states. Just it never panned out well because you just didn't have the union talent, the the people who ran the cameras and all that type of stuff. You didn't have that kind of people that you had in California. California, there's schools for that. That people growing up in that area know, okay, Hollywood's right around here. I'll get a job as a boom operator or a camera operator, sound mixer. Florida at that time in the late 80s, early 90s, you really didn't have that. So this is how the studio part started kind of dwindling down. Now they had the animation part there, and that's was a small little segment. And they would work on they'd work on some bits and pieces of finishing up for movies and whatnot, or do the animated shorts, um, and some TV work. It wasn't until Lilo and Stitch. Actually, no, I apologize. It wasn't until Milan that they really started doing their own thing. Milan was the first fully produced and in Florida movie, followed by Lilo and Stitch and Brother Bear. Um, that got shut down because of one Scrabble to another, or one squabble to another. The California's excuse was, I mean, you can't shut down California. It was the original one, even though the Florida movies were outselling the California-based movies. The excuse at the time was, from what I remember seeing, was that the Florida animation projects were always behind schedule, and therefore the place wasn't doing good, and so they had to shut it down. But so that's the animation studio how that kind of left. But in the TV stuff, well, the TV stuff, like I said, they couldn't get good people to work on the stuff, and so eventually kind of died off. I mean, you did have stuff produced there. MMC, the Mickey Mouse Club, for the 90s was done there. I mean, and that produced a number of celebrities, Britney Spears, a number of the guys from NSYNC, the Carrie Russell, all came out of that, and a few others. You also had Thunder in Paradise was done there. There was a whole history with that, and what moving studios and whatnot. So you had a number of things that were done there. Golden Girls house was there, even though the Golden Girls itself was filmed in California, but the exterior shot of their little ranch house was from Florida. Same thing with Empty Nest, and a few other houses were had their lots there. Um, so I mean, you had a lot of TV stuff integrated into the park, just it never took off the way that they wanted to. So what do you do now? Well, you have to change it into a real park. Now this was the third of was now four parks at Walt Disney World. So what else are you going to do? So enter in. Let's put in open the Sunset Boulevard. They put in the Tower of Terror. If you ever look back, if you do research on the opening of Tower of Terror, there was a mob. The entire Sunset Boulevard, which really did not have anything else going on it, a couple shops, was packed, shoulder to shoulder people getting into the Tower of Terror. I remember being, and I was not there for opening day, but my brother and I went there shortly after, and being in this mass amount of people, seeing this, seeing the Hollywood Tower Hotel standing up there, and just working our way through the mass amount of people to be able to go on this ride, which at that point the ride, you went through the story part of the ride and went up. You went into the elevator and you dropped. That was it. It wasn't the whole multiple drops and shakes and variable things. That all came later. They actually even had, when they started with where the thing started to shake in the elevator shaft, I remember that there was this whole online video game thing that you would go through, and the story was that this evil scientist came up and pumped some sort of evil ooze into the Tower of Terror to get the elevators to act weird. And jeez, some of the stuff that the Imagineers come up with, that you think back, okay, at the time it seemed interesting and maybe it was a good idea, but as you think back, you go, really, you guys come up with stories for all these other things. I mean, you have stories to even describe some of the most minute details within an attraction, and this is what you came up with. But that's without saying. But what's some interesting things about the studios? I mean, it is, I believe, still to this date, one of the largest hidden Mickeys. The park itself, if you look from above, the design of the park, well, you know what? I wonder if now that's even going to be still true. But the design of the park itself was a giant profile hidden Mickey. With the addition of Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, I don't know if that's going to change it. I haven't looked recently, but I believe you still could see a lot of the Mickey features in the park itself. Tower of Terror actually even has a nice giant hidden Mickey on it as well, which now they're starting to do the image mapping on the Tower of Terror. In 2008, it was one of the additional parks. It wasn't the first, but not that this is a normal thing, but it changed its name from the Disney-MGM Studios to Disney Hollywood Studios. Yeah, Disney-MGM Studios to Disney Hollywood Studios. I was there for one of the last times that you would see that, the MGM name on there, and kind of overnight that disappeared. It does actually have celebrity footprints in front of the Chinese Theater, which is a mock-up of the Man's Chinese Theater in California with the Walk of Fame in front of it. Disney has its own thing. They do rotate out those blocks every so often, and they do keep them somewhere in a warehouse. They don't destroy them. They do try and preserve the footprints, but being that there's a limited space, there's only so many that they could put out every so often, and whoever they're promoting or it's a good faith at that moment. Apparently the rock used in the Indiana Stunt Spectacular is approximately 400 pounds that comes rolling down. So that would not be fun to have actually run into you. Apparently, and Joey Fatone and Wayne Brady are also both former cast members to that park. So two celebrities that have deep ties into Disney. I mean, Wayne Brady, we know, always had a connection with Disney, but it even goes back to he was a former cast member at the studios. And let's see what else. Inspired a Muppet short, a Muppet made-for-TV show, The Muppets at Walt Disney World. That was to introduce the Muppets having their show come to, or having a attraction at the studios. At first there was Here Comes the Muppet, which was a live stage show that they actually drove a monorail onto the stage. This was where the Little Mermaid show is now was actually a Muppet show then. So yeah, the Here Come the Muppets Meet and Greet, and then you also have now the Muppets 3D slash 4D. Depends on the marketing at the time. You also have the Hunchback of Notre Dame stage show. Wow, that was fantastic. I was very upset that they shut that down, but again, it's another one of those stages that it's Florida, but we're not going to put any type of air conditioning or circulating air into the venue. Something that they quickly threw together to be able to accommodate guests. But that was a fantastic show, actually. The Culpin character would just belt out those notes. It wasn't. It was more of an actual stage production show than, say, the Beauty and the Beast one on the other side of the park, which uses the costumes of the walk-around characters. This was more Broadway-esque style costuming. I personally hate the term, Broadway style show, but this was closer to that. With Quasi and his makeup, it wasn't like a fitted mask. It was actual put on pieces to the character, and just very well done production of that. I miss all the Roger Rabbit stuff that they had. The back area, it's all gone now, actually, isn't it? Because that's where Toy Story Land is. There was a shop. It was right next to the Honey I Shrunk the kids' playground, which wasn't there. It was there initially. But there was a shop which had a whole bunch of Roger Rabbit stuff. You even had the Dipmobile crashing through the wall, and you could actually get your picture underneath the steamroller part. But that's all gone now, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, a park that has evolved and changed so much. Um, it's amazing to see where it's coming, but it's where it's had to go because, like I said, the initial concept of it, of being an actual working studio, couldn't really keep up. So that is something that they've had to do with it. They've had to kind of reimagine it, just like they did over in California Adventure. They did that now with the studios too, and there's been several ideas floated of, okay, how can we plus this park? They were going to bring in a mini Cars Land. I don't know why they'd have to do a mini Cars Land versus the full-size car land over there. Obviously, they swapped that out and they put in Toy Story Land instead. There is talks about putting a Monsters Inc. Land in there of some sort, or even possibly something with Incredibles. It all depends on box office, really. This is kind of the current thought process of the company, is depending on how the box office goes, depends on how what we're going to put into our parks. But it's always an evolving park. The parks themselves are basically living creatures, and they're always evolving, aren't they? When you think about it, I mean, even the Magic Kingdom, the original park in Walt Disney World, is still evolving. Disneyland, the original park Disneyland, is still evolving and changing and growing. So why should the studios? It just needs, even though it's the smallest Walt Disney World park, sometimes the smallest needs to change the most. And it is doing that, and I foresee with Galaxy's Edge and the Toy Story Land, you have more of a definitive, though less structured, but more of a definitive style for this park now. It's, this is the park. This is how the park is. It's not of Hollywood of old and trying to integrate, live the movies, as it were. But again, that's someone else's thought. It is putting you in the movies with Star Wars, Toy Story, and whatever else they're going to put in there. So, what do you like about the studios? What is what is one of your favorite attractions, either current or past? I love the Muppet Vision 3D. That's always one of my go-to. Um, to me, it is uh, a double attraction because you have the pre-show, which is fantastic, and then you have the show itself, which is fantastic. So that has always been one of my favorites. But what is yours? Are you a Star Tours person, original Star Tours, or do you like the new version of it? Um, and or a great movie ride, any of the shows. You tell me. You let me know. Um, what is your favorite thing about the studios? Join the conversation on Facebook at facebook.com/Disney Marvels Podcast. Again, Facebook is facebook.com/Disney Marvels Podcast, or on Twitter at Disney Marvels. You can also email the show with your answers or suggestions for a show to disneymarvels@gmail.com. Again, the email address is disneymarvels@gmail.com, or you can even leave a voice message through the Anchor app. I also want to thank you for your time. I know your time is, how little time you have and how precious it is. And for all of you that have been sticking around for the past year, how much time you put into the show, it means so very, very, very much to me. I cannot express enough how much your time that you spend with me and how we get to spend this time together means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you deeply from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for everything, for your support, for your constant listening, for sharing with your friends. Again, thank you so much. And just make sure you just keep sharing with your friends. And again, I know I always ask this, and Matthew, you keep saying this, but it really does mean a lot. If you go on to iTunes or wherever you're listening to it and rate the show and leave a review, because that actually does help let more people know about the show. And like I always say, Disney is a big family, and the more people in the family, the better it is. So don't forget to subscribe to the show so you know when new episodes come out. And also consider becoming a premium subscriber. Go to anchor.fm/Disney Marvels/support and make a donation just to help the show out, because everyone needs money. This show is brought to you by listeners like you. Honestly, it really is. This show is brought to you by listeners like you. It's kind of like PBS in that aspect. And also keep in mind, if you're planning your next Disney vacation, contact Destinations with Character Travel. They are the Disney earmarked agency specialized in Disney cruises and resorts vacations, and they do a ton of other things too. So make sure to check them out. Tell them that Disney Marvels sent you, and let them take the stress and craziness out of planning your vacation so you could actually enjoy your vacation. That's the whole point of it, is to get away from everything and enjoy it. So let Destinations with Character give you a free quote. You're not signed to anything if you contact them, and they will just make your life easier so you can enjoy your vacation. And they'll help you out. Why not? All you need to do, contact them and let the magic begin. Their website is www.destinationswithcharacter.com. Again, that's www.destinationswithcharacter.com, or email them at info@destinationswithcharacter.com. Again, the email address is info@destinationswithcharacter.com. And like I said, make sure you tell them that you heard about them on the Disney Marvels podcast. So whatever you're facing out there, no matter how difficult, how impossible things are, how strenuous or dark life seems right now, don't give up. Look deep within yourself, and you will find the strength that you need to overcome your obstacles. Be your own hero. Never give up. Never give in. It may take some time, but you will get through this, and you can achieve greatness. Now, I would like to end this show, as usual, with a quote from Walt Disney. And this quote is very telling of the studios, I feel. And the quote is, "Well, it took many years. I started with many ideas, threw them away, started over again, and eventually evolved into what you see today as Disneyland." And that was from Walt Disney. So thank you again for listening. Please again, rate, subscribe to the show, and I'll see you next time.